Hello, welcome to episode 2 of our Nourish podcast. I'm Lynne Scott, the Chief Executive for Nourish Support Centre.
I'm Rab lead volunteer.
Gordon Nisbet and a volunteer.
Welcome to you both, thanks for coming along. Our last podcast was our first one, and we sat with Stacey and Vicky, just kind of like a general introduction to what Nourish is, you know, what services we provide and why we do what we do. And today I thought it'd be really nice to involve you both, because you both joined Nourish for such different reasons. Yeah. Rab, you joined us first. Do you want to tell us a bit about how you first became involved with Nourish?
It was my wife went to one of your groups at, I think it was Linton Lane. She went to, I think it was a thing on a Saturday or Sunday with my sister-in-law, and come back and says, we're going to a group on Wednesdays. And I was like, I don't really want to go. It's like, I'm fine, I'll just stay. It's like, no, you need to go, because it's all about helping Willock and helping getting, just basically help for him.
Yeah.
So I went, not thinking I was going to love it really. And then I went in and it was fun. It was so much fun. But we were also welcoming.
It's really daunting, isn't it, walking in somewhere for the first time?
It was, especially, well, back then it was really busy.
Yeah.
It was only one group a week, really.
Yeah.
And you walk in and then there'd be maybe 2 or 3 at the start, and then more and more and more, and you're just sort of sitting there like, I don't care who to talk to here. Even though I'm a talker, I was still like, I don't know who I'm talking to. But no, everyone was really welcoming. And it was just that literally first walk in the door. And yeah, we would never look back.
Oh, that's lovely to hear. And your experience is quite different to some of the families that we support, because you've not been there since the very beginning, from the early stages of diagnosis. So
I've been the last 7 years. Well, it looks now 18, sorry. So I've been the last 7 years.
Right, that you've been involved.
With. Well, look, he's already had his... Yeah. But we're now going through that with our other son as well. So.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about then you and your family.
Well, there's me, my wife Kelly, we've got Luke who's 18, Coy's 16, Ryan's 15 and Aiden's 6. And Ryan's going through diagnosis now. Okay. So I'm now getting that part.
You're experiencing it.
I'm now going paediatrician, we've got cognitive assessments and all that kind of stuff coming up. So I'm now experiencing what a lot of mums have previously experienced and are still experiencing.
Yeah, of course.
So
what was Luke's diagnosis when you first joined that family?
Luke was ASD.
And is it something similar that Ryan's going through just now?
Possibly, yeah. Maybe ADD. Yeah. But I know it's all one big sort of bubble kind of thing, but yeah, it's possibly the same.
And how did you find that, not only meeting somebody and becoming a stepdad, but also becoming a stepdad of someone with additional support needs?
It's a hard thing to do, really. It's the understanding's the hard part. Because we didn't have, for the first few years, it was only me, Kelly and the kids. We just done it on our own. She didn't have any other help, outside help, until we came to Nourish and we started getting groups and stuff like that. It's the understanding's the hard part. Yeah. If you don't understand a child who's never had a child with additional support needs, it's hard to, if he's kicking off, you're kind of, well, why are you kicking off? I don't understand why you're doing that, what's wrong? But as months and months go on, you kind of start picking up on why he's doing it, the little subtle changes. And
do you feel like coming along to Nourish and meeting other families that are facing those same kind of circumstances that helped you to understand?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. 100%. Sitting on the Wednesday groups and everybody sitting together. If you've got a problem, somebody will help you through that problem. Somebody's been there or knows somebody. There's always an answer. And it was just a good vent as well.
Yeah, you could just to share.
I just sit and go, we've had a total rubbish week and this and this. And there was always somebody that would pick you up.
That's really good.
You do feel like you're hitting rock bottom sometimes, as a parent with an additional support need. You're kind of lost. Yeah. But somebody will pick you back up and be like, right, it's fine, we've all been there.
That's really good. There's a lot of shared experiences, isn't there?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
And do you think it's helped Luke?
I'd say so, yeah.
And Luke's now volunteering.
And Luke's now volunteering, yeah. We volunteers.
So this comes on to our next part. So you and Gordon both volunteer with us. So we're chatting to you anyway, Rab, so let's go with that. So lockdown happened. God, that was so hard, and it seems like forever ago now, doesn't it? And everybody talks about the isolation that they felt through COVID, through lockdown, and for our families, that isolation was already there.
Yeah.
Many of the families that we support were already very rarely getting to leave their house because of the situation they were in. So lockdown just obviously made that even worse. And like everybody, we thought the first couple of weeks we'll just lock down, and it very quickly became apparent we couldn't do that.
No.
Our families needed support, they needed people to speak to, they needed help with food. There were so many things going on. So most of our services went online, apart from the food support.
Yep.
So do you want to tell us how you got involved there?
It was when you were needing somebody to pick the Stevens up regularly from Rosyth.
Yeah.
So I kind of started volunteering. I would do it, bring it to yours, or I can't remember what else I used to pick up.
That was crazy. Stevens, the bakers, were absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they were.
So were all the
They were.
local businesses that supported
Every day we
us.
picked up for Stevens. I was literally just talking about that next door a minute ago.
Were you?
That was every day we were picking up.
I remember you used to bring trays and trays of rolls and leave them at my front porch.
Chap your door, run with the great Stevens.
Don't come within 2 metres of me, but drop off the rolls, and then we would put a wee call out to everybody that there's food available, but you know, you have to social distance.
You had a line at your door.
Yeah. And then after lockdown, you just continued volunteering. with us. And quickly became a lead volunteer because you do so much, Rab.
Became lead volunteer, charity shop hub, joined you on the board.
I think what's so important is that you have got that lived experience, because you are living at home with people with additional support needs. So, you know, you're not just here as a dad, you're not just here as a volunteer, you're in with the bricks.
It's true, when I think about it, you can empathise with people and sit down, and especially in the hub, you can actually sit and have a chat with somebody and you know the struggle they're going through if they're having a really, really bad day. And that's what helps, talking to someone. Definitely.
Gordon, you've been volunteering with us for quite a while now as well. How long is it?
Beginning of the year. But I can remember when you were at Temple Hall.
At Linton Lane, Yeah. That's a while, isn't it? And obviously I've known you personally for a long, long time as well. And then you came and joined us.
I was diagnosed in 93, and when I was diagnosed, Asperger's had only been officially recognised 10 months when I got diagnosed.
Oh, was it? Wow.
So there was no support, no nothing.
Yeah, quite a new diagnosis then.
Mum was glad that she had what was. But when I got around, there was only wee drop leaflets, and my mum had to give them to the doctor because the doctor didn't even...
Really? The doctor didn't know what it was?
Nobody in our practice didn't know anything about it. So it was like a learning curve. So any information we got, we had to give... We shared it with the GP because there was nothing.
And how old were you then when you got that diagnosis?
15 and a half.
Right. Quite a challenging time then, already being a teenager. And how did that impact on you, receiving that diagnosis?
It helped, but also because there was no support or nothing, you were just basically thrown pillar to post, back and forward. There was nothing, and you would go into the groups, you would turn to them, you were that part of the autistic scale, and they were like, what's that? You don't look autistic. Because all the training was for the lower level, but the higher levels, they were like, there was nothing.
So because you were quite high functioning, Yeah, that's quite a challenge, isn't it? And were you still at school then?
I just left school.
Okay. And what did you do when you left school?
I went to Elmwood for a year, done the basic course because I'd left school with no qualifications.
Right. And do you think if you'd had a diagnosis earlier that would have been different? That you would have, got some qualifications with support?
Yeah, I think I would have been put into like the special needs school and like me the last few years. But then had support after that. But because the way I was diagnosed, I didn't get any support. My mum was struggling, she had to fight for any help, and at that time nobody knew anything.
Yeah.
So when Nourish came along, especially after lockdown, it took me a wee while to build my confidence up because I kept on coming into the hub, getting to know the other volunteers and that before actually volunteering myself. It was like to get to know them, and they knew what what I was doing.
You used to come into the shop all the time. You stand and talk to us in the shop.
Yeah, I remember. We used to talk about DVDs a lot because you like DVDs, don't you? So how do you think then that your diagnosis is impacting you now as an adult? I mean, how old are you now, Gordon?
I'll be 46 this year.
46 this year. So, and how do you find life in general?
I think before Nourish I was finding it hard because there was next to no groups or that, but there was no really ones like on your level. Kind of like sort of like I get on with Luke in that because he's the similar level and it's like the same level of like communication in that, and there's less barriers between the communication.
So you've created friendships and a bit of a support network. That's so important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I love that about Nourish. We all just kind of come together like one big family.
Yeah, it is one big family. We've always, ever since we joined, it's been one big family.
So what do you enjoy most about your volunteering, Gordon?
Years ago I couldn't speak about it, but now it's like the confidence to speak about it, but also like what Rab's saying in the hub, that there's folk going through it, and like say someone says, oh, it's bad, but then when you try and tell them, when I was diagnosed, there was nothing.
Yeah.
Someone feels that, oh, I do feel so bad now because there's more support out there. There's a big difference between years ago and now. But it's also like helping to grow as a person, more communication, learning more skills. You're more communicative now.
Yeah. So what other groups are you involved in, Rab? Parent support group or the family support group?
Well, I've actually not been to them for a while because I'm down doing food support.
But when you are along, what do you think you get from that? Obviously, you've told us what you get out of volunteering. Support.
Friendship.
Yeah.
As I said, you start hanging, there's always somebody on the end of a phone or a message.
Yeah.
If you're struggling for something. And even just a laugh.
Your friendship circle just grows, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Being involved with
today we were playing park golf.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, tell me about the park golf.
Well, park golf. I love park golf. I think I've played every session since it started.
Oh, that's great.
And we're booked back in again for the next 2.
Oh, that's brilliant. And that's about Dunakeer Golf Club, isn't it?
Yeah.
Accessible
definitely
golf.
Something that people should be getting in more of.
Have you tried the park golf yet, Gordon?
Not yet.
Oh, we need to get you on there.
Yeah, we need to get you up. It's such a giggle. I mean, Aiden's only 6 and he was up playing today.
Was he?
Yeah,
oh,
he
that's
played the whole
brilliant.
6 holes.
Oh, that's really great to hear. So have they got clubs in different sizes?
Yeah, they've got clubs in different sizes, yeah.
Oh, that's really good.
I think it's 3 different sizes. They've just got new clubs, so they've got 3 different size ones now.
That's really good. You're both really involved in the Happy Mondays as well. Gordon, it was quite new to you a few weeks ago, coming along to Happy Mondays. How have you found it?
Actually quite interested with the different levels in that, but also...
You mean people with different additional support needs?
But also it helps to remind that some levels are more hidden than others.
Yeah, hidden disabilities, yeah.
But like the different levels are, certain ones public are aware of certain levels, but not the others. And I think that's where the awareness is still growing.
Yeah. And I think awareness of hidden disability is growing, but I think you're right, there still needs to be more, doesn't there?
Happy Mondays, you can never come out not happy.
I know.
Never,
the name suits it so well, doesn't it?
I've never walked out and felt, I can't bother with this, can you? Never.
Yeah.
You're just looking forward to that following week. And I've not had a lot recently, we've been at the charity shop and stuff. So it's good when I can still get back in.
Yeah, so Happy Mondays is for anybody aged 16 and over who has additional support needs to come along. And again, it's all about creating friendship, increasing your support network and just having some fun.
And if we all see them down the town, they'll always say hiya.
Yeah.
So we've got a good group going.
We've had some young people as well who are transitioning through school, coming along to that group in the past as well. So it's a nice way to kind of see what community groups are out there once your young person
that's going to be the hardest thing for them.
Yeah, a big struggle. And actually we're going to have an episode in the near future talking about transition because that's such a big deal, and we're talking about transition from children's services into adult services.
Yeah.
And I know guardianship is something...
Yeah, guardianship, we're... fingers crossed at the last hurdle.
And guardianship, for anybody who's listening, is for a young person who's moving into that adult life, adult age, who does not have capacity to make decisions for themselves. You can be made guardianship so that you're the appointee, you're the person responsible for helping to make those decisions.
Yeah, we're going for a 3-year one, I think we've got.
And it is quite a scary, daunting process, isn't it? Because you have to go through court, and it's quite it sounds daunting, it sounds a bit worrying, but actually the process itself
It
is
should have
quite
been quicker,
smooth.
but COVID kind of delayed that for us.
Yeah.
I think we're over 2 years now.
Are you? Yeah.
I've got the other type, which is the point E.
Is that for like benefits and financial
That's for benefits
stuff?
and things like that. So it's not that where I'm probably able to do 80%, but that last 20% I can't do. So mum's the point E.
To make
So
phone calls
That's an
and
extra
stuff
layer
like
of
that.
protection for you, isn't it?
But also it's not the full guardian.
Yeah. So do you feel, Gordon, that you're able to manage your day-to-day finances quite well yourself?
I still struggle at times, but when it comes to like paperwork, banking, kind of that interaction.
Yeah.
That's where your mum comes in.
Where it's like still allowing you to have that, learning that more independence, but at the same time as areas that you can't do.
Yeah, you can't put yourself kind of at risk financially because you've got that backup. And it'll be the similar for Luke, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's just, Luke would spend everything, basically.
Yeah. And it's really difficult, isn't it? Because you want your young person to have that independence, but actually if they're not able to make that decision and they're at risk of spending all their finances on, an Xbox game or Lego or whatever it is that they're interested in.
That's how he started guardianship, was that he went out one day and spent £40 on them without even blinking an eye. Yeah. £40 was gone.
And what did he spend it on?
It was Hot Wheels. And he thought that was... When we spoke to him, he didn't see the wrong, or not the wrong, but he didn't see how that was. Yeah. And how that can affect him if he was trying to budget money.
Yeah, that's quite scary, isn't it? Yeah.
This £40 goes, it's just...
Yeah. And we're obviously thinking how much food we could buy for £40.
Try to explain stuff to him, pills and stuff like that.
And did you find that you had support when you were going through the guardianship, that there was other people you could speak to and get information?
Well, yeah, yourself went through it, and a few other mums went through it. So we spoke
there's a
to
few
them.
of us, isn't there? Yeah.
Our lawyer, not so much. I never really heard much from the lawyer. It wasn't till, was it 5 health and social care were out?
Right.
Before we went on holiday, and she was really good. She went through everything, stuff that we didn't even know what was on it, and she explained a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot involved, isn't there? A lot of different powers.
Because the lawyer never told us, and we were sitting there like, oh, okay. Yeah. Didn't know about that, didn't know about this.
And that's what makes it seem really daunting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But actually, when you're going through that, once you're in the process and it's started, it's quite straightforward, isn't it?
It seems to be rolling now, and then, I don't know, I wouldn't say he's too happy. Okay. He did ask us to do it, so he does understand.
And what about you, Gordon? When you went through that process, were you quite happy with that?
I think with himself, those ones took advantage and took a lot of money off me, where the point E could step in and actually prevent that from happening again.
Yeah, and that's where it's so important. If someone's taken advantage of you and you've now got that protection in place for your mum. My situation's a little bit different because Adam, my son, now lives with his dad and his stepmum. So myself, my husband and my ex-husband, we've all got joint guardianship for Adam. Nice. So it works really well because the three of us all have equal responsibilities for keeping Adam's finances safe and making decisions about his health. And it works really well. I mean, Adam, unlike yourself, Gordon, and unlike your son, Luke, Adam has no capacity at all to make any decisions. So just something simple like, going to the dentist and making that decision about having a tooth taken out without guardianship. As a parent, you no longer have the right to make that decision once your young person's 18. That young person is an adult and entitled to make that decision on their own. So without guardianship, if I disagreed with the dentist, for example, I wouldn't have a legal say. But with guardianship, I can now make that
That was the first
decision.
thing you said at group a few years ago.
Yeah.
And that's
how it was sold to me, the dentist story.
And that's what we used when we spoke to Luke. We explained it the exact same way. Yeah. Because he asked us for the help, so we started getting the help. And then we spoke to him about guardianship, and that's how we explained it to him about the dentist. It says, and you could basically get all your teeth taken out, and you wouldn't have a say in the world. Yeah. Whereas now, we've got that say, we can say, no, well, let's try and fix them. Yeah,
and that's it. The young person would have a say, but if the dentist was... felt really strongly about something, then it's just about having that extra say. Because as a parent, you're always respected anyway, aren't you? Your opinions and things are always taken into consideration. But as a parent, you're legally the person that's got that right. But as soon as that young person turns 18, you lose that right.
And we did explain to him that no parent wants to be guardian.
No.
Because then that changes your title. Yeah, you're still mum and dad, but officially on paperwork you become guardian, you don't become mum, you don't become dad. And I said, nobody really wants to have that.
Yeah. And you're so right, because I think that's something that we all talk about a lot, that instead of being known as Lynne, you get known as Adam's mum, or you get known as a carer, an unpaid carer. You do kind of lose your own identity, and you're actually just taking on another identity now as a guardian, and it can be really hard to keep a hold of.
We don't want that. I says, when you're filling forms that you're ticking mum, you're ticking dad. I says, but now we're going to be guardian.
Yeah.
I says, and it's just like you're saying, it's another title that you're adding.
Yeah. And I have to say, for me, things have got easier, because when Adam was in school, he's often unwell, and when he was unwell, that was my life would stop, and I would be home with Adam for weeks and weeks on end, not able to go to the groups, not able to do anything. I was just mum at home or carer taking care of Adam. And when Adam left school and we got a care package in place, that actually meant that I could have my time back, and I got to remember who Lynne was again and experience being Lynne. And that was so important to me.
To where it is just now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and put that time and effort into Nourish, and getting us to where we are now.
We've grown and grown.
We have grown. It's great to see. I absolutely love it.
Big difference from 7 years ago.
Well, we've been running for almost 12 years now. It'll be 12 years in November since we started.
So when was it you were in Linton Lane then?
In Linton Lane. So when we first started in 2011, we were in Hayfield Community Centre. We then moved a couple of years later into Linton Lane. We stayed in Linton Lane till about 2017 or 18. We moved into Glebe Park. And in Glebe Park was when we started kind of introducing more services and looking at what else we could provide in the community. And then during COVID, obviously, we all went into lockdown. Fife Council were absolutely fantastic at letting us still deliver food parcels from Glebe Park. And then as we were coming out of COVID, we took on this place where we are now, Elizabeth House. And of course, from Elizabeth House, we've now got our family support centre here, our community hub and our charity shop, and this lovely new office that we're in now. So Kirkcaldy Strong Walk is coming up. That is the 19th of August, I believe.
I think it is, yeah. Looking forward to that one.
And that'll be really good. And that's a collaboration between us and a few other charities in Fife, well, in Kirkcaldy. So that walk is going to start at Nourish Support Centre and then finishing at
King's Theatre.
King's Theatre in Kirkcaldy, that's right.
I think she said we're going on a prom, I think.
Yeah.
Only promming back to King's.
And you can dress up, you could take flyers. Last year a few of us had t-shirts on, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
And it's not just about fundraising, it's about taking part and raising awareness, isn't it? Yeah. But people can take part in as long or as short as the walk as they want to. Bubble, our mascot, tried to take part in the walk last time, and it was a long walk, so he managed a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see if we get Bubble back out again.
So Bubble is our bear mascot, and we've got Buttercup, who's our squirrel. We've also got an anime club, so we've got a few teenagers who come along who enjoy anime, and the teenagers that come along to that group, they all struggle socially.
Yeah.
They all struggle to be in large crowds, so we keep the number for that group really small.
Really good.
Yeah, deliberately. And they'll either watch some anime, or they will colour in some anime pictures, or they'll just talk about their favourite anime characters, and it's just an opportunity for them to be in a space that's safe for them. Just to chat about their likes and dislikes. And even if they're not talking about anime, it doesn't matter. It's
just a group, it's still a group.
Yeah.
I think with anime, as I watch a lot of it myself.
Do you?
And I think it's a lot of it is with the colours, it's like a cross between sensory, but also it's shorter episodes. You don't need to like the film.
You don't need your attention to watch like a half-hour episode kind of thing.
Because
that's interesting.
Between the colours and that, but also anime has less frames per second than like Disney, and that should have less frames per second.
Right, I didn't know that.
So it's actually a lot easier to follow. Animation is 26 frames per second. Anime is between 20 and 23 frames per second.
And what does that mean, frames per second?
So it's like when they move like the picture, how they do stop animation, they'll move like an arm and just move it, then take a shot, so then it's so many frames per arm to move.
Oh, wow.
It's like stop animation, but it's just done like with painting and that, where they do it that way. But because there's less frames, there's more attention to the action and that, but also because it's slightly slower, folk could actually focus on it easier than animation.
Well, that's really interesting.
The focus is easier then.
So sensory feedback's so important, isn't it? Obviously, we've got our sensory room. A lot of people come in to use the sensory room in Nourish.
Definitely. I think Luke's one at the minute's more touch.
Touch, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't. Luke's always been a hugger, but recently he's not wanted that.
So he's not enjoying touch at the moment?
I think sometimes he just feels a bit...
Yeah.
Like, I think yesterday he was struggling a bit and I said, "You want a hug?" And he was like,
"No, that's too
don't
much."
Touch me.
Yeah,
just,
get away from me.
And then it was just not... He wasn't feeling it.
I'm a really touchy-feely person, so I love physical contact and hugs and
Luke was
touchy.
like that, but
yeah.
He sometimes has the days where you can't.
What about you, Gordon? Have you got any sensory challenges?
I like shopping that, so the tactileness.
Yeah.
But I have trouble with loud sounds, market, and there's times where I've been out and had to use my earphones, and some folk are like, "Why are you having to wear earphones?" But they don't realise there's that much noise from the lights and things like that.
So many different things going on, isn't it? And is it earphones you use or ear defenders?
I had to switch to earphones because using ear defenders I was getting a lot of abuse for it. So to disguise it, I had to learn to use earphones.
That's such a shame. Yeah.
And I think that some folk are saying earphones is okay, but ear defenders is not. It's like...
And you can't always really tell the difference, can you, looking at them?
Luke had one when we were on holiday a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
On amusements in Scarborough. We were looking for a cafe and our in-laws had said it's up the top, so we're going up like 4 flights of stairs. So there was a noise for the fruit machines, there was a noise for everyone using all the games. The worst thing was it turns out where the cafe was, there was a 10-pin bowling alley.
Right.
So as we walks in, they're rolling it, pins are scattering, and he literally sat at his hands in his ears. We were just about to order, but we had to...
Had to go, it was too much.
He tried moving away, but there was just, as Gordon pointed out, that noise, like the buzzing for lights.
Yeah.
All the games were going off, people were laughing, shouting.
All the different things all at once.
And they had to just get out.
Yeah.
So we just had to make a beeline for the exit outside and let him just... It took him a while. I'd say a good 2 or 3 hours later.
Yeah.
And we were still back at the caravan, he was still kind of hiding, sitting in the room, no one to talk to no one.
And I think that goes back to that hidden disability thing again, doesn't it? Where people in public might see a child or a young person or an adult, anybody, reacting and not understanding the situation, but actually there's so many things going on in that situation.
So it's like for me, I got told I could hear a lot of like sub-sound, where I could hear it but only feel it. But where like say Rab wouldn't be able to feel it, or yourself. Maybe take you a few hours to feel it, but where I would feel it. You
would feel it instantly. You were saying that you like motion and vibration, Gordon, don't you, for calming you down?
It seems to be calming. It's like the vibration just seems to relax the muscles. It's not like sound or anything. It just seems to be that gentle feeling going through your body. It's like a relaxing...
Yeah, definitely.
We've got a vibrating cushion in the sensory room. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but I found it a bit strange actually when I tried to use it, but for some people they really enjoy it.
So you put your head on it, it's a little round sort of fluffy cushion.
And the sensory room is great in the centre, isn't it? And that's used by children, adults. Some of our parents go in there to get some therapies.
Yeah, just shut the door. And
counselling happens in there.
It's really good. It's a nice, quiet area.
It is a lovely space.
Even with the door shut.
Yeah.
And the sensory, going back to sensory, I mean, my youngest, he's 6, has his hair. He has to have his mum's hair or his sister's hair. And that's been since he's about 6 months old, I think he's had this hair.
Just likes the hair, yeah.
The hair and the finger. We were told he would drop the finger, he would stop sucking the finger, but that's just not going away. That's the...
He's got...
Yeah, I think it's that sensory comfort thing where he needs it.
So Adam likes to reach out and gently touch my hair, and you think he's been really gentle until he does twist his fingers around your hair until he's got a good enough grip that he can pull really hard.
At that stage, Yeah, he's took chunks out of his sister's hair before.
And actually, haircuts, that's another challenging thing for...
Well, funny with that, because that's what Ryan's going through now.
Is it? Struggles getting his hair cut?
Yeah, he never used to bother. He was fine. He'd go and get his hair cut. He'd pick a style, or we'd pick the style for him, sorry, because he wouldn't pick. But as he got older, we were like, well, you need to maybe pick what you want, because you're 15 now. So you pick your style, but the last twice, it's not worked. It's not worked. No.
How do you find that, getting your hair done, Gordon?
If it's getting trimmed at the back with that, I find it relaxing, but I struggle when they're doing the top.
Right. Just the sensation of the shaver, the razor.
But the razor on the back of the neck's actually relaxing. Right. But the top and sides, that I struggle with.
Ryan's is just the style in general.
Is it? And it's change again, isn't it? Some people don't cope very well with change, so going for that, worrying about change, you're going to a new environment. For my children, it's definitely the change as well. Yeah. The sensation does have an effect on them, and that, getting the hair cut, but it's definitely the change. So, for example, my 16-year-old will want a new style and request a new style and show the hairdresser what they want, and will manage through the hair appointment, but once they look in the mirror and they look different, it then takes a lot of time to get used to that. Yeah, and it's the same if we get our hair changed. I never get a compliment if I go and get my hair done. I never got a compliment because it's a change, and they're going to struggle to cope with that. So it's like anything. I can't change the curtains in the house or move the furniture around without pre-warning and having that conversation first that there's going to be a change. So it's the same with getting a haircut. I'm going to the hairdressers. I'm going to come back, look a little bit different, and it's a lot of things that people may not realise. But if you've got autism or something similar, then that change can be quite challenging.
Aiden's, we think there's something with Aiden as well.
Do you?
He shows signs, he's a tiptoe walker, but he's the same. Kelly has to say, right, I'm going for my haircut.
Yeah, just to prepare for that.
And he's never happy.
Keep thinking, one of these days I'm going to come in from the hairdressers, walk in the door, feeling all lush, and everybody be like, wow, Mum, you look amazing. But no, never happens.
I'm fine, they just say it's fine because I'm bald. So I
like to keep it short.
Unfortunately, I have no choice. So.
I find sensory-wise it's easier to keep it short.
Yeah.
Do you? See, for me, going to the hairdressers is such a treat. It's such a pampering session. And I can only do that now because I'm working. When I was caring at home and just a full-time carer, that was really challenging. I either couldn't get out for time to go to the hairdresser because I was needed at home, or I couldn't afford it and I had to have a hairdresser come into the house, or because of the change that was going to be happening, my children had to see the change taking place. So because they're a wee bit older now and I can now afford to go to the hairdressers, it's a wee bit easier, but it's just another perfect example of another challenge that we all face.
Yeah, we do, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rab and Gordon, for coming along today. Thank you all for listening, and listen out for our next podcast. And our next episode will have young people with additional support needs themselves discussing the challenges that they've been through.
The Nourish Support Centre podcast was presented by Lynne Scott. The guests today were Rab and Gordon. It was a Jacket Pocket Media production for the Nourish Support Centre.